is there still a place for litre sports bikes in 2025? Now, it's a question we hear a lot. So to answer it, we've got BMW's new S1000RR to find out. We've got a day on the road, we've got a day on track, and before you ask, yes, it has been warmed up. So we're gonna go and have some fun. This is the UK's best-selling litre sports bike, and for good reason too. Now, you know, a lot of you are gonna sort of watch this and think, you know what, I don't need 200 horsepower on the road. No one needs that. And you know what? You don't. But to have it, it's just ace. This style of bike is something that everyone should ride in their lifetime, because when you open the garage, when you see the big scary litre bike stance, it sort of fills you with butterflies, and that's sort of, you know, why we all go riding motorbikes. And even on the road, you can still use it without, you know, hitting silly speeds. You can still get a feel when you put it in softer modes for the chassis and the suspension and the sheer amount of power on tap. And because of the shift cam in the motor as well, you know, you can waddle along at normal speeds and it will still look after you. But it's when you get it to, you know, a nice open set of corners where it really comes into its own. When you're sitting in second gear, you know, you can put it in softer suspension mode, so in road mode, you know, you can get a little bit of pitch, you can feel how powerful the brakes are, and, you know, you can wind it on, and there's no feeling like riding a sports bike because you're in the right position for it, because the chassis is so incredible, because the tyres are so sticky when you've got them heated up and, you know, it's on a warm day. It is just absolute engineering brilliance. And, you know, 10 years ago, some of the sports bikes on offer were really small, but this thing is very roomy. So this comes with some optional extras. So this model actually has the M Endurance seat and the adjustable rear sets. But even in its standard, guys, it's a really big roomy machine. Like, you can see how big the tank is. The bars are, you know, they're reasonably far out and they're not actually too high up. It's a bike that I've done a couple of 100-mile trips on, and I don't actually feel that bad. You can engage the cruise control, you can do the little arm on the tank. And to be honest, I know people say that sports bikes are really uncomfortable and, you know, people are getting too old for them and stuff like that, but you get a good amount of wind protection. The mirrors work reasonably well, up to 60 miles an hour as well. So, you know what, it's not a bad road bike. And if you were just gonna have one bike in your garage that could, you know, do track days, do road riding, this could easily be it. But to make sure of that, we're going to go and take it on track to find out what it's like at one of the UK's finest tracks. We know what this bike's like on the road now, but if you're buying a Elite sports bike, the chances are you're gonna want to take it on track. So in order to give this bike the biggest challenge we could, we've brought it to one of the best tracks in the world, Brands Hatch. We're on the Indy circuit with no limits. And today we've had 6 sessions on it. It's been dry, it's been sunny, and I've learnt a lot. To be honest, the number one thing that I want to get across to you is that this S1000RR is changed. It's evolved so much since the first generation, the second generation, even the 2019 models. The thing I always loved about the RR was just how friendly it was. Do you know, we're lucky that we get to ride a lot of bikes, test a lot of bikes, but if you jumped on an RR, you always knew where you were straight away. No matter what track or tyres you were on, you could always sort of get to your limit, and the chassis would always talk to you, the front end was always predictable, and the motor would always feel fast, but it never felt like it was going to just rip your arms off. It was almost like the friendly, easy-going superbike that was just a great road bike too. But what BMW have done with the last generations is sort of move the parameters from road bike to getting closer to race bike, which, to be honest, I don't really understand, because that's why they've got the M1000RR. That should be the really aggressive one. Yet this has adopted some of the M1000RR's bits as well. So it's got the quick action throttle, it's got the big wings, and that makes it even more aggressive. To me, I'd have liked this to have stayed the softer, slightly more road biased one. You know, I love the big power figures, I love the big torque figures, I want to see massive calipers, big braking power, loads of tech. But the thing that really confuses me is that they've sort of taken it a bit too far. I know that sounds mental for a Elite sports bike, but it's now a really aggressive thing to ride. I've done, 6 sessions at Brands, and I feel absolutely mullered, and I've still got to ride it home, whereas the old one was like an armchair. You could do a 24-hour endurance race on it. So although you look at this bike and you think that, it might not have changed from previous generations, it sort of looks like evolution rather than revolution. Every time BMW have tweaked it, they've taken it a step further, a step further, a step further. And I never thought I'd say this, but actually, I think this might be a step too far. So this has been a really interesting test. The S1000RR, after riding it on track, it's sort of the gnarliest one I've ever had the opportunity to swing a leg over. And it's interesting to see how that compares to its rivals, which are almost going in the opposite direction. So you've got the likes of Aprilia with the RS-V4 Factory 1100 and Ducati with their Panigale V4S. They're trying to make them bikes easier to ride, more accommodating for, your average rider. What that means is the BMW is actually, the one that rewards the more aggression, the harder riding. And I never would have thought that before riding it. It's going to be really interesting to see how it stacks up against its competition, and we've got that test in the pipeline. So make sure you like and subscribe, let us know what you think in the comments below, and we can't wait to bring it to you.